I'm Olivia. I am a wildlife and travel photographer. My goal is to inspire people to give a shit.
I'm Pat. Spent 10 years in the Marine Corps. I have strong views on conservation and the U.S. Constitution.
We will discuss topics like yoga,
How to gut a deer and not fuck up your meat.
orgasmic meditation,
Full body orgasms.
life after divorce.
Life after death.
Why the fuck do we still use plastic bags?
Why can't everyone learn guitar in school?
What do you look for in the perfect photo?
What's in my food?
What's in my mouth?
We might also dabble in a little bit of motorcycles. That's right. She rides a Harley, bitches. While our upbringings drastically differed,
Our ability to communicate and be open-minded has allowed us to strengthen our relationship. So this podcast is here for you to broaden your horizons, possibly change your perspective on a topic. So we hope you enjoy listening to The Hunter and Hippie. Welcome to The Hunter and Hippie. My name is Olivia.
my name's Pat.
And today we have two guests. One, you know, Scott Jacobs, my dad. And then the second is Sarah Buxton. She is a singer-songwriter, and she is here to play tonight. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here, guys.
We are honored to have you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, super stoked about tonight.
Me too. Not as stoked as me. This is my relaxation time now. Like,
Do not disturb on silent. My ass.
So anyway, back to welcoming you. Phone ringing. She's a singer-songwriter.
still happy to be here.
Yes, still happy to be here.
Still honored to have you here.
And you are normally here in October only for the Wild West Songwriters Fest, right? Is that
True.
the only time
Yes.
of year?
I've only been in October, and it's feeling a lot like October today.
I know, it's
Right.
weird.
So
That's
beautiful.
crazy. The last artist
See?
song is -6.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Wrong word.
So we're holding doors at 5:30 and it was -6 outside.
Oh,
So
wow.
Everyone wanted inside.
I think everybody's pretty happy that it's going to be 50 degrees at opening tonight.
Yeah. Me included.
I know. So I first want to get a background on you. I did the banner that we have, and I know your bullet points, the highlights. I want to know like your life, how you got to, Belmont. It's Belmont, right?
Belmont
University.
University, Nashville,
before that.
Tennessee.
I want to know before that.
Okay.
How you got there.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, like anyone can look up 19-year-old you and beyond. But
Sure.
what happened from birth to 19?
Well, the first time I ever held a microphone, this reminds me, holding it like this, it reminds me of when I was 3 years old, 3 or 4. My dad was playing basketball in a gym on a Saturday morning, and he was like on childcare. My mom had my little brother, and my dad took me. And he was looking for something for me to do while he was playing basketball. And he was like, we're in this gym. And he's like, let's see, how do we turn on this microphone here? He's like, flips it on. He's like, here, hands it to me. And I'm like, and I just remember the sound in the gym. It just felt so much like a superpower. I immediately connected with my voice at a very young age through that. And obsessed with Michael Jackson. I had a poster of him on my wall in the yellow tuxedo from the Beat It. It was the Thriller album.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed, full tilt. And it was my favorite Christmas present. I was a radio girl. I was very much into the radio. And we always had the radio on when we were in the car. And no matter what was going on at home, my mom and I could have gotten into a mother-daughter little moment. And we get in the car and we are just singing along to the radio. And I used to sit in my room and listen to the Top 40 Countdown, the Casey Kasem countdown. It was what I did on Saturday. On Sundays, I would just listen, and I had my cassette tape recorder out, and I would wait for my favorite songs to come on and record them. And
I envision that little white plastic one with the little stretchy cord
Yes,
microphone. Is
it was
that what you're talking
purple.
about?
It was a Sony.
Yeah.
It was purple. It was
Yeah.
pastel, like purple, peach, and like turquoise.
Such a girl color.
It was so
Yeah.
cute. It was so cute.
My sister
Um,
used to have one of those. She would bring it to my baseball game, and they're battery operated, and you couldn't turn it off.
Oh yeah.
She'd just belt out songs, and we're trying to play a baseball game, and everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, dude, what can I do? Like she's the one singing it.
Did it have an attached microphone?
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
My
Yeah.
first Sony.
They
I
were
think.
coiled like the old telephones.
Yeah, that was it. And I loved music so much. It was an escape for me. I would go to my room and just listen and write the words down. And when I was 11, my mom urged me to try out for the Lawrence, Kansas Children's Choir. It was a new thing. And so I was 11 and I had been taking piano lessons. So I knew the harmonies and stuff from the piano, and I immediately knew how to sing harmony. So they put me in the alto section of the choir, and I got to just get into the music and harmonizing with people. To this day, that's my favorite way to enjoy music, is singing harmony with people. I was big into choir and band and chorale. We had these groups, small groups and big groups and different things. And it was a big part of my life. But it was when I was 16, I sang in a talent show for the first time. And again, that was the first time I held a microphone in a big auditorium full of people screaming. And I came out and did a song on stage. I did Blame It On Your Heart by Patti Loveless. And I was like, well, that is what I will be doing for the rest of my life. And I thought that I would be
You were
a
hooked.
star. Yeah, I was hooked. I thought, I'm going to be on stage. I'm going to be touring. I didn't know I'd be a songwriter.
Were you into poetry, or what was it about songwriting?
It still is poetry to me. I love the poetry part of it. And the words have been consistently the hardest part to nail. Just today, I wrote a song all by myself and I sent it to my publisher, and he straight up slammed it. He's like, this is a nice piece of poetry, but this is not a hit song. And I was like, okay.
Sometimes you need those people to just, like my sister does that. She'll be like, what are you wearing?
Yeah.
Cut the bullshit.
Don't you have a song though that has the words all by myself or something like that in
Well,
it?
you're like my biggest fan. Thank you for
Hey,
knowing that.
I'm trying to,
Must
know the people that are playing downstairs. Are you going to play that tonight?
No, I'm not going to do that tonight. I thought about it.
As an encore.
I have a different opinion of that song now. I am like
Oh, it's
majorly,
beautiful.
it is by myself. It's a beautiful song, and I wrote it about dying. So I like writing songs about real lighthearted stuff, apparently. Just ask my publisher.
Actually, I hadn't fully listened to Hard Things, the lyrics.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
when Pat and I were driving to Deadwood this morning, he's like, have you listened to that song? And he put it on. He goes, it reminds him of me and my ex-husband. And I was listening to the lyrics, and it was like, I stayed when I was mad. I stayed when I was angry. Don't call me fragile. Like, I can do hard things. And I'm like, oh shit. I was covered in goosebumps the whole drive, the whole song.
Are you going to play
I
that
love
one?
that one.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you would have told me that they knew like all my these. I don't usually do them.
I can hold up my iPhone with the words if you forgot them.
That's
And-
true.
and-
I could.
I
Figure
the
it
coolest
out.
thing about the art of song is you can just do you. Everybody there paid and wants to see you.
Yeah.
Yep.
The
They don't
unplugged.
necessarily care that you. I mean, yeah, they care and they're justifying spending the money because you wrote songs for Florida Georgia Line,
Yeah.
Band Perry. They just want to hear you. So if you want to play your own songs, feel free. Do it.
Thank you.
Get after
Okay.
It was impactful for
Thank
me.
you.
But I also wanted to know, like, was that a part of where you were in life?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when you wrote it?
Yeah.
Where were
Some
you?
songs come from random places. Some lines come in and I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't know why I wrote what I wrote today. But that song was in 2020. I was just about to get separated from my husband of 11 years that I had 2 kids with. And that was something that I really never imagined doing. It was never something that no one in my family is divorced. No one. My entire family. There's just no one. If you would have told me that he and I wouldn't have ended up together when I was in my 20s, I would have just thought that that is the end of the world. And it took a lot of heartbreak for me to get to the place where I was ready to go. And when I wrote that, it was right before I went home to tell him. Like the week after I wrote that song, I went home and told him. So it was like the songs sometimes lead you towards where you're going in life.
So I don't write poetry, but I just journal a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
when I went through my divorce, I was 5 months pregnant. And so, yeah, it was very emotional. And there were entries that I wrote like 6 months prior to like the breakup, to me being like, am I really happy? Looking back at that, thinking, how long did I stay in this through, you know, I stayed when I was mad. I stayed when I felt all these awful things. And then he fucking leaves when I'm pregnant. I was so mad. But the entries, it really helped me looking back on some of them to like help me through the process. So when you write a song, it's the same kind of thing, but it's a audible proof of what you're going through.
Journaling is so wonderful. I have gotten way into it. I've always been into it, but I come in and out of it, and I am loving it right now. I just love it. It's great to do.
I always say to everybody, I say to him, like, he can tell when I have a lot on my mind because I'll just pull out my journal.
Yeah.
If
and
I
I
see
go
the
sit in a
journal, I
corner.
walk away.
Yeah.
I just leave.
She brought it on the yacht.
great.
I know.
She had it and she
I
wrote
know,
all
she
the time
busted
on
it out.
there.
As soon as she opened it, I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm going in the water.
Getting thoughts out on paper can do so much. Like, I have a blog, so that's my art form, I guess, along with photography. But writing, songwriting, there's such a therapeutic release.
Yes.
So going back to Hard Things, I'm sure anybody who would listen to that song, if you haven't listened to it, listen to it. It's Hard Things, Sarah Buxton. It resonates super well with a breakup or somebody who's like on the verge of should I end this? And then, like for me, when I listened to it, I pictured her and her prior relationship, but then I listened to it again, and on the second listen, I was like, man, if my ex-wife would have heard this song before the breakup, what would have happened? Because you know, music resonates with people, so it's like the clarity that comes through. I'm like, man,
For anybody.
I'm like, this is
I
wild.
like that song.
I was going to say, isn't if you're having an experience in your life, good or bad, and you put it down in words and you write a song, especially if it's a bad experience you're writing about, isn't that part of the healing process? To actually see your words on paper, your thoughts, and then actually to sing it and say it out loud? I would think that would be part of the healing process.
It is healing. It takes a lot of self-worth and love to be able to share what you're doing with people. That's something I'm really trying to get resilient with right now, is like, I'm trying to write more alone and show something that's only made by me to people. And that's not something I've done for a long time. I did that when I first started writing songs, but then when I started co-writing with people, my songs got better because you have an editor, you know, and like,
Well, it's a second ear also.
a second ear. And my songs got better. And then you don't want to do it as much on your own, but to be able to answer what you were saying, it is healing to, in general, be seen in loving ways, whether it's by yourself or by someone else that you love. It is so healing to do. Yeah, it really is. And it takes
Cough,
bravery.
Cough, cough, Dad. You could work on your journaling.
I do have a journal next to my bed. I wrote in it once.
Yeah, what'd you write?
A couple years ago.
Jacobs.
Hi, I'm Scott.
I think I put my name and phone number in it.
In case this is lost, return to.
You know, it's crazy.
Right.
You say that about healing, and I was in the military and experienced a lot in 10 years. And it wasn't until I met Olivia that I was able to really self-reflect on the effects of war and what it did to me. This last Art of Song, I got up with Danny, and he and I are working together. I'm just giving him the information.
What is it called? What is the thing that he does? What's it called? Songwriting with Soldiers?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Songs for Soldiers, something like that.
Yep, yep.
I'm going to do that.
I just spoke with him a few minutes ago about it, but I found an old journal entry, and I'm taking that and I'm giving it to Danny. He's a busy dude. I didn't think anything of it when we were here last time, and he's like, "No, dude, I already got the song title. I've got this ready. I'm just waiting for your papers." And I'm like, "All right."
Wow.
He'll be able to, I think,
Killer.
release a lot through that,
Yeah.
because before me, he just shut it off. He's like, it's easier to just shut it off.
So,
Well, that's what I was
Yeah.
saying. It's
We're gonna
part of
feel
the
this.
healing process.
Yeah.
Is writing about it, talking
so for
about
me,
it.
like in 2011, April of 2011, my best friend was killed, and he introduced me to music. Like I learned music notes from like a music teacher, and then incorporated that with like my own guitar playing, but it was terrible. And then he was the one who like tweaked it and was like, no, dude, like that's great. You could play a G, but you have to play a G along with other chords and then be able to sing while you're playing those other chords. So he really taught me how to songwrite, and then he died. And
In your arms.
yeah. And
Yeah. Not just he died. It's a big thing.
so with all of that, I just kind of shut it down, and I had a $1,600 Taylor guitar that I smashed into pieces. And, you know, I went through a really, really, really dark time, and music in itself kind of pulled me out of my dark hole. And so for me to be able to do this, it's going to be pretty awesome. But, you know, hearing hard things and even twisting it and like flipping it, you know, like very clearly when you're singing that song, I can hear a woman telling her husband, these are the things I'm doing. Well, then you can flip it, and it's the man telling the wife, I'm doing these things, and you're not recognizing it, struggling through hard things and stuff like that. It's like, man, like it's crazy how a one sentence lyric with music to it can completely change somebody's perspective on something. So I'm a huge fan of songwriters, and I'm just super stoked and excited for tonight.
Yeah.
So
I'm a fan of songwriters too. I mean, I'm always trying to be a fan and a student, first and foremost. And I put myself in the same boat as what you're talking about just like wanting to write a song and wanting to do that. I feel the exact same way after all these years, you know. Still feels
When
like
did
that.
you write your first song that got great notoriety?
Notoriety. Well, my first notoriety was in my jam band that I was in when I moved to Nashville. I was in like this Southern rock jam band with like 2 drum sets
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
and 2 electric guitars, and
Were you the lead singer?
I was the lead singer
Awesome.
with a djembe and a
Nice.
flute and a tambourine and a shaker, and I just danced around. And
So it's like Leonard Skinner and the Doors combined.
it was like Leonard Skinner, and I was like Edie Brickell at the
Nice.
or whatever, you know.
The
like-
New Bohemian?
Yeah, exactly.
Was this when you were a teenager still?
This is when I was about 19, 18.
Okay.
I started that band. But the first song I wrote that had widespread notoriety was Stupid Boy by Keith Urban.
Right.
And that was
No, by Sarah Buxton.
by Sarah Buxton, and he made it by him. And that was my first song I'd ever really had recorded.
So how did that?
That's
come
a pretty
about?
good
So
start.
you recorded Stupid Boy, and then did you directly give it to Keith, or was there a buffer in between?
So I recorded Stupid Boy I wrote it in 2004, and I sang it around all the time, and it was passed around different publishing companies and different writers. They knew it in town, like it was known before he recorded it.
Was it a stupid boy that you had dated?
It was a stupid boy that I married for like 3 months.
So you've been married
Been
twice?
twice?
So I've been married twice, but this marriage doesn't really
No,
count.
that doesn't count.
Like,
It's totally
annulment,
normal.
right?
I mean, I tried to get him to annul it, and he was like, didn't understand. And I was
it's been
like,
3 months. Come on. Let's forget this.
just, yeah. I was
It's
just
Vegas.
like,
We're done. You're a stupid boy.
yeah, it was just, that was about him.
Vegas and booze.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, it was a 2.5-year relationship that ended in a 3-month marriage.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So,
But I was 21 when I met him, so 2.5 years was kind of a long time, you know?
yeah.
True.
So
Definitely.
that's what it seemed at the time.
Take all your young adult freedom.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see it every day here in Deadwood.
It was my wildest times were before him, though. Let's be honest. Then he came and really tried to
Reel you in.
Change you?
reel it in,
Yep.
Right.
and he did. And I mean, I don't know. There was a lot of things about him that were just fine for the time. We had a lot of adventures, and there was a lot of experiences that I had that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't have followed him down
Yeah.
those
I mean,
roads, those lost highways.
some mistakes are meant to be like stepping stones towards something better.
Yeah.
So everything that we go through in life, I think that there's always a silver lining.
Yes.
No matter what. Like my marriage, I have my beautiful son. He's so amazing and so kind. And, we're divorced, but we get along.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great example for mom and dad to still get along, be able to sit at the table with all of us, you
Yeah.
know, and be a weird little co-parenting family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. That's a dream.
Lost Highways, that resonates and hits different. You know, when you said that, I'm like, man, like I'm thinking I ride motorcycles and I'm like, there's times where I'm like, I'm going to take this road and see what happens. And then I'll hit a dead end and I'm like, whoa, time to turn around on this one.
Yeah.
That's not the end of the world.
Right.
The end of the road and the end of the world.
But a lot of times it's like, man, this is a fun road.
Sounds like a great song title.
know, I was
Yeah,
like,
you writing that one down too?
Hit the end of the road.
Dang, I should have brought a notepad for
I
you.
do
Yeah,
wish we
really.
could write
You
that
got a whole new
down.
album here.
I know.
Getting back to your songwriting, I don't know the process. You know, as an artist, I know the process as an artist. The ideas we come up with the painting that gets published and you hope it's a hit and so on. When you write a song, who do you bring it to? You have a publisher. You say, okay, I just wrote this new song, put it out there, see if anybody's interested in recording it. Like Stupid Boy, you said it was going all around town. So say you finished it, you wrote it, it's been circulated. How long did it take for Keith Urban to say, hey, I'm going to record that? And then after that, how long did it become a hit?
Well, I wrote it in 2004, and in 2005, I recorded it with Dan Huff, and I was getting ready to sign a record deal. So that was the point of why I recorded it with him, is because it was going to be for me. And then I was very plugged in politically. You know, Keith is making records with Dan Huff. That's his producer, and it was my producer. So I was right there next door to Keith Urban. It was easy because Dan was playing it for him, saying, check out this girl.
You should, nudge,
you may
nudge.
want her to go on tour with you. Like, he was thinking, check out this artist. And then Keith was like, whoa, I want to record that. That's a hit. That's a hit song. And so then they're like, do you want him to record it? And I was already a fan of him. So I was like, absolutely, I want him to record it. But it is not that easy. And I remember when I was sitting at the CMAs for Song of the Year nomination, all dressed up, going, oh my goodness, it can't be this easy every time. And guess what?
But you were nominated, though, for
We
that
were
song?
nominated for Song of the Year.
What?
And I just remember
It's
it was
huge.
a wild ride. It won several different awards, and it was a very special time, you know, and I really did enjoy that. But it has not been that easy. Now I write songs, I turn them in. Some of them I don't feel that excited about. And then my publisher will be like, I love this. And I'm like, okay. That's the thing about music. You can't, as a maker of something, you can't think too hard about it, you know? I'm trying to be seen more and show people more of what I'm doing and get more feedback so that I can get a little bit better about what I'm even starting. Some people in the room, I've noticed a quality in a songwriter that I really admire are people that shoot ideas down fast. And they'll be like, so what's this and what's that? They'll immediately see what the problem is. I'm the type of writer where I listen to so many different kinds of music. I'm like, there's so many ways to write a song. I think you can write anything. But that doesn't really help me being a hit songwriter. There's a lot of different songs you can write, but if what you're wanting to do is write the most hits possible,
Right.
there's certain types of songs that you don't even go down the road of doing. And I admire people that can see. It's like people when they play chess.
They see like 5 moves ahead.
Yes, that.
You need other ears, and you need people to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's not very good. Like, don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Totally.
So
But
do
it's
you-
only an opinion, though. We
Right.
each have an opinion,
We
you
each
know?
have an opinion. There are songs I've written lately where I'm like, I can't figure out why no one has recorded it. Like, I don't understand it. I've sent it to everyone, and I'm like, why don't they want that? It
Don't you
doesn't make
want me?
sense. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to me. I'll never understand.
Maybe
It's
you
like-
haven't gotten it right in front of the right person.
And that's the thing. Sometimes it's that.
Mhm.
Timing.
Danny spoke about a job, like a song board, like this artist is looking for this and this artist is
Yeah,
looking for that. Do
that'd be a
you
good
write
idea.
towards that, or do you write your own songs and then put them out there and say, this is what I got?
I'm still learning about that. I'm open. I don't know. Jury's out. I don't know. I do both. I do write songs. There's some, like last year, one of the songs that I feel like was loved the most was something like an idea that came to me I was in the shower and it was like, your love is the punishing kind. Mm. Then I had these, na, na, na. I could hear the melody, but it was like punishing kind. I was like, that is. But I took it in and I get there and I'm like, well, I have this. They're like, we love that. So we finished it and the publisher like loved it. Yet the last two I've done, not as much. I don't know. When ideas come to me, I just hear them. I can't really describe it. I think when Paul McCartney wrote Yesterday, it was scrambled eggs. It was like
Really?
the original lyric. And sometimes that's what you get. You get that melody in scrambled eggs, and then he changed it to Yesterday.
You just hummed that song that you were singing in the shower, and I heard Whiskey Lullaby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. we hear melodies and words, and we just hear things. But now I've forgotten what the original question was. But I think it had to do with.
We're just spitballing here.
Well, I don't know. I veer. Count on me if you want to off road. Talk to me.
Bird.
So I have a new question then. You said that, you put them out there and then no one takes it. What do you do internally? What do you say? Is there a practice
yes, there is.
And resilience where you keep going? Because there's a lot of people who will stop at the third rejection. So like, how do you persevere through that? Is there a trick?
There are tricks. Okay. I just thought of like 5 ways to answer that question.
Do it. Do all 5.
I'm a process girl because I am very achievement focused. I like how it feels to achieve. My experience in this business hasn't been one of just, boom, I had an achievement and then achieve. It hasn't been that way for me. I've tried to have it be that, but it hasn't been that way. So what really inspires me is the process of writing. When I was younger, I drank a lot of alcohol. I was very hard on myself. I pretended that I wasn't hard on myself. I pretended to be very easygoing. And I was when I was around people and I was partying and I was drinking. And it was like I had enough momentum that no one can really tell like how much I was struggling when I was alone. I had a habit of talking really badly to myself in my head. I had a habit of pleasing people and not being honest. I had all these things. Somehow things still worked out. But these last 6 years of my life, since COVID, I think lots of people's life changed in 2020. Mine certainly did. And I now have a lot of habits. I have a time that I write. I always write at like 11 a.m. Sometimes I start at 9 a.m., but I try to bring in a title. I let my publisher choose who I work with. I am really careful not to carry bad vibes around with me. Like it's rare that I have a day where it's just painful. That happens 2 times a year where I'm like, I'm going to drive off a bridge. I'm just like, but that's only like twice a year. Generally speaking, the days, even if they're not that great, I can go home and like reset and show up. So my habits these days is more like, what am I feeding myself? Like, what am I reading? What is my habit with journaling? Am I walking? Am I moving? Am I doing breath work? Who am I hanging out with? Who are the people that I'm having conversations with? This stuff really influences my life. I actually yesterday sent a text to like 10 different writers because I am really looking to have some new habits these days. And I asked 10 of my favorite people like that I really look at right now that are showing up and being validated as well in a big way. And I just said, hey, what are the top 3 to 5 things that you guys think of when you think of being the best writer that you can possibly be? And it was amazing, the answers that I got back. But Go
I was
ahead.
going to say one of the people that she sent the text to was Mark Beeson, the guy that sang at your wedding.
Oh my goodness.
No, it wasn't my wedding. I eloped during the Songwriters Fest.
So
wow.
kind of was your wedding.
It was my first dance, but then he was singing that song, And She Cries at Night.
What was that foreshadowing?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
I didn't realize when I asked Mark to do it for her. I didn't look at the words prior.
I was literally mid-dance. There's a picture of me, and I'm like smiling, but I can tell I'm laughing because I'm hearing the lyrics, and I'm like, "What is this song? It's my first dance!" Like, yes.
Oh my gosh.
It was doomed from the start.
And she doesn't think that I can hear her, but I
Yes.
die a little each time
That one.
when she cries. And I'm like,
Yep.
wait, just don't let her think that you can't hear her. Tell her you hear her. Ask her what's going on.
That's funny.
No, it's not. It's sad.
It's funny. So I got a question for you, and it might be difficult to answer, but as a female songwriter in an industry that's predominantly males, have you come across any roadblocks due to gender or due to just not knowing the right people because, oh, well, that's just this little girl in the corner writing songs? Have you come across any roadblocks like that have paused or halted your career, and how did you overcome those?
I have to be honest that I have been lucky. And when I was young, especially even, it was harder. There was less females when I was in my 20s than there are now. There's a lot more now. And I was let in to where the boys were working. I was let in. There was somebody that told me once that if I didn't give away my publishing, they couldn't take me. Let's just say I wouldn't get the same opportunities that the men were getting because it's a liability for male artists to write with a woman because their wives don't want them writing with women. And I was like, oh, no one has ever said anything remotely like that to me. And I had been a writer for 15 years at that point. So it's not that often, but it has been a thing. And so I've been lucky to have been invited into like whatever what do you call it? The boys club.
Yeah.
In ways I was lucky, but not everybody's that lucky. And I was lucky. And it is a thing, but
You also said you had a brother, so I wonder, sometimes like Alexa and I both, we hung out with more guys in our teen years. They were just, for me, easier to hang around. I trusted them more, which I think is not the case with some women.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that also the dynamic of you being like, yeah, I'm not intimidated by you. Like, I'll just walk right in and we'll start writing a song together.
Yes.
So
I'm more these days, like, I do find now that the female relationships are more plentiful in my life now. But that was true for me when I was younger. There was a time when I looked around and I was like, oh my God, my friends are guys because I was always touring and they were my bandmates and they were my co-writers and I was just surrounded by my guy friends and my boyfriend's friends.
Hey, Livia,
she's a really good songwriter.
Can I pass the baton to Danny? I just need to check on some stuff downstairs.
You
mind popping in, Danny?
all right,
Yes,
jump
switch hats,
in.
hang on.
Let's go.
We got
Yeah, switch
Danny
hats real
Myrick
quick.
joining us again. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Pat.
What a crew.
Hola.
All right, so everybody watching, this is Danny Myrick. He
Hola.
was on our last 2 episodes ago. He's
Yeah.
jumping in for Scott for a little bit, but I asked her a hard question of roadblocks that she came across as a female songwriter in the industry, predominantly males. And
she
great
said
answers,
she's
yeah.
basically a guy's girl, and she had a lot of guy friends.
Yeah.
And
Back then, yeah.
yeah,
She is that kind of hang. She's and honestly, most of the female songwriters that I work with kind of are. It's definitely sort of a guy's town. I've always preferred writing with females from early on. I think I found that at least in the country music world when I first really kind of got into it, it seemed like the more interesting stories, the more interesting titles, more interesting chord changes, life situations, it's not all trucks and fishing poles and stuff, you know. It just was kind of interesting. I actually always loved writing with females. And, a little bit more of a rich life. There's just a whole lot that you guys deal with that we're not dealing with. So
Yeah.
I think it's like a yin and yang. You got the hardness of men and the softness of women.
Yeah.
You can complement each other and merge it all together into a cool song.
Yeah. I think
And then there's our
Yeah.
friend Bridget Tatum, who's a little bit of both. And she's tough and awesome and
From-
fun.
Was that South
From
Kakalaki?
South Kakalaki. Yeah.
Yeah, I think-
Kakalaki.
I think that deep part, like Chris Jansen, Hardy, those like hardcore, I'm a dude's dude, and then like the band Perry,
Yeah.
super soft, and
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's like, man, like it's just crazy how music can just bring everybody together no matter what.
Yeah.
My close friends, they know that music is like the only thing that resonates with me. If you want to get me out of a dark hole, put on some, chill music. If you want to get it to where you got to bring me down a notch because I'm too riled up from being with the boys. I'm out on a motorcycle ride with like 15 of my buddies and we're doing dumb shit with my friends, and you got to calm
Jack
me down.
Johnson.
Yeah. And then you put on Jack Johnson, put on something slow and calming, and then it might take,
And then Jim, A Day to Remember.
yeah.
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 I
So-
get that.
But
get
it's just
that.
crazy how, based on your mood, you select a certain song or a certain genre
Yeah.
and then roll with it. Very few people that I know can listen to one genre their entire life, other than my dad. All he listens to is 90s country. He won't listen to anything
Yeah.
else.
Isn't that
Everything
one?
else is
Isn't that
crap.
one of the strange blessings of the streaming world that we live in?
It is.
That I remember it started when those started blowing up. It started being playlists instead of, or if you burned your own CD. That I guess that's really when it started. But suddenly, like you pull up at a red light somewhere, and the person next to you is driving a jacked up truck or whatever, and they got a mouthful of chew, and they're listening to 50 Cent or something. Especially like college age, early 20s, man. Those playlists, once we got into the streaming world, they listen to all of it. And it's like
Everything.
the same people that are at a Morgan Wallen show. I guarantee 80% of them are going to a Kendrick Lamar show,
Right.
if they
Yeah.
can get tickets.
Yeah.
I love both of them.
Yeah.
they're
and,
great.
and what's crazy to me is like, you say Morgan Wallen, I went to one of his shows 2017. California doesn't have a big country scene at all, but 80% of everybody there was kids.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. These
Hey, California, I tell you, man, Orange County, Central California, the rodeo stuff up there, it's so, when you go up the coast, you go up to Malibu, you go up Highway 1.
Mhm.
When you get up just south of Ventura, you get to Oxnard,
Oh, yeah.
everything's agricultural. And
Yeah.
you get up in that area, and then up
Camarillo.
like Modesto and up in there, even Sacramento, man, all that area is huge country music,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. Well, and
And
she's
now
from
they're-
Kansas, I mean, it's like
Lawrence, Kansas. Yeah.
you don't get much more wheat fields than
Country.
that.
I remember being like, I didn't grow up in the country. Like, I grew up in a college town. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, you're from Kansas, so
Yeah.
you must know about the country. I'm like, I partied in the country. It was
Yeah.
night. I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
No, I went to like camp in the country. I would go to a river. I would fish
Yeah.
at camp. But I was like riding my scooter. You know what I mean? Down to the pool, like a scooter, like with
Yeah.
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
oh,
like your
analog.
racer,
Yeah,
Analog.
like yeah,
Analog.
not
That's
E.
that's why you bring a different voice to
Yeah.
your songwriting. Like you're Middle America, and you
But since
Yeah.
then, I have turned into a country mouse. I
Yeah.
am a country mouse, not a city mouse.
Do you have a preferred genre that you write for?
I prefer to write country music. I like writing country music.
Mm.
Country. What's country?
Like country songs.
Back
Like I
up in
love
kudzu vines and
simple.
watermelon
The more
moonshine.
my favorite type of song is a song with hard rhymes, a beautiful melody, just follows a classic path.
Mm.
It's very satisfying to write those.
your
kinds of
Alan
songs.
Jackson cut. It's like
Yeah.
this. Man, it's so old school in the
I
most beautiful
love
ways.
Which
that.
song was that?
It's called So Late, So Soon.
Mhm.
I can't take credit. I mean, Scotty Emmerich had a ton to do with that. Like, I mean,
But that song could
But-
have come out in 1965.
yeah. It's so satisfying to write songs in general. It is very satisfying to put a feeling and a melody, rhyme it, and just feel good about it. And it's very satisfying when it's like a really clean song. I
Yeah.
don't know how else to say it.
True.
I
True.
get that.
But it's just no matter what kind of song it is, it's satisfying at the end of the day when everyone loves it. That's
and they're
the
singing
best.
it, and you see everybody in the crowd, and they're singing
Yeah.
along. You're like, yes. I can only imagine what that feels like to be on stage, and the audience is,
All singing
completely,
it. Yeah.
just enthralled in what you created.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a
It
good
does
feel.
not suck.
It is.
fun.
Doesn't suck.
It's
Well, I
structure.
think we wanted to get somebody else on here. We're gonna
Yeah.
do like, I don't know, musical chairs.
Yeah, literally musical.
You can
but
have my
Rivers,
seat.
you wanna
I'll
jump
go
in
fix
in
a
here?
drink. Unless you
Cool.
want, what do you,
So
whatever.
I have no idea.
I'll bump over.
Oh, there you go. All right,
Are
cool.
we going to share a mic then?
Yeah,
We only
you
have
and
4.
I can.
Okay.
You and I can.
This is,
Rivers,
really
you
scripted.
can take my
Can't
seat
you
here.
tell?
It's Rivers Rutherford.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen,
from Memphis.
Thank you.
our
Thank you very much.
headlining tonight, Rivers Rutherford. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, we talked a little bit about Sarah and her intro to music and childhood. Can you do the same?
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up in Memphis, kind of on the edge of Memphis, and about 4 blocks from Graceland Mansion. And my dad actually grew up next door to Graceland. It wasn't a mansion; it was a house. But he grew up next door and was a big Elvis fan. And so my earliest memories are my dad singing Elvis and playing it on the piano, and I just hopped. I couldn't stand it. It was so exciting. And then I would climb up on the piano bench and pick little melodies out on the piano and whatever. And started playing guitar and piano around 7 or 8 years old. And I don't remember not writing music, but the first time I wrote a song down, I was 9, and it wasn't great or anything, but I played it for my dad, and he looked at me and said, that's really good, especially that part in there about the, he said, you ought to do that again. And so I got affirmation from my dad, my hero, and I just kept doing it.
I would buy a CD and I would look at the art and read the lyrics and
Sure.
do all that. And then eventually it was like burning some of those for my friends. And it was a more mindful process.
Now you're getting into, don't talk about burning CDs.
I know. Oh, but what if I talk about LimeWire? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, LimeWire and Napster. Yeah.
Yep. I
was a major
definitely had
deal.
LimeWire, and that's where I got a lot of my music.
Rivers, tell them about your first cut as a pro songwriter. That experience.
I signed my first publishing deal. I was a junior in college. I went to Ole Miss, University of Mississippi, and I signed a publishing deal my junior year. And the guy that signed me, his name was Chips Moment. He was kind of a big deal in the music business. But he made me promise I'd go back and finish college, which I did not want to do. I wanted to start a band, and get to work immediately. But I went back, and he called me one day, and he said, "Have you ever heard the song The Highwayman?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, you know who the Highwaymen are?" And I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Well, you really don't like country music, do you?" "Not really, He said, "Why the hell did I sign you?" I said, "I don't know. You said you'd give me money. I took it, But I like R&B and rock and blues, And he said, "Well, I'll tell you what, dude, go buy the song, The Highwayman, and write me the sequel. This would be a good exercise for you." So the word exercise sort of offended me. I'm thinking, hell, I'm getting paid to do this. I'm a professional. I don't need to exercise. But I was just that young and arrogant. But I went down to the local, back then, a record store and bought the cassette tape, and came back, and my roommate was going, "Hey, we're going out. Let's go." And so I went with him, and we went out and rocked, and came back when the bars were closed. And he went to bed, and I went back, and I thought, probably I'll listen to this song. So I listened to The Highwayman, and I distinctly remember thinking, if this is country music, what have I done with my life? I mean, that song is we're 45 minutes from Mount Rushmore. That song should be carved somewhere on that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
It's a monument of a song. Anyway, I stayed up all night and I wrote what I thought might be the sequel. And I drove to Memphis the next day, late in the day, and got there about sunset. And I'd called him and told him I was coming. He said, "Okay, come on." Well, what I didn't really realize was he was just as mercurial and irresponsible as me. When he said, "Yeah, sure," what he meant was, "No, don't come." And I didn't get it. So anyway, I showed up, and whatever gate code he gave me didn't work. I almost turned around and went back, but I didn't. I jumped his fence, and it was a terrible idea. They had an alarm and a German Shepherd guard dog, and that treed me. I was sitting in an oak tree when the cops got there, But anyway, he listened to my song, and he crushed out a Cool Filter King, and he said, "Well, that's pretty good." And about 2 weeks later, he called me and said, "Can you be at this address on Monday?" And I said, "Sure." And I drove up to Nashville and opened the door to this studio, and there was Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings and Chris Christopherson. And
Wow.
they cut my song.
I would have retired. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
My career's
We
been
can only
downhill
have
ever
to
since.
say,
That's
there's
my
nowhere to
big
go.
quote.
Crazy
unbelievable.
cool.
That's
crazy.
wild.
I love that story.
And you were how old again?
21.
21. And did you ever go back to college?
I did. I finished.
You did.
Believe it or not.
All
yeah.
right.
Impressive, right?
So what did that open, the opportunities? What did that open for your music career after writing that song?
It's surprisingly little. I engaged a realtor and I went downtown. I was looking at condos overlooking the river in Memphis, and I had delusions of grandeur. I sang and played all over that record, and actually went on the road with them for a while. And I think my total complete compensation out of the whole thing was about $12,000. That's all I made. The record didn't sell. The song wasn't a hit, and it was kind of a
Let
ice
down.
water bath in reality.
I was just saying, it's the education in the music business right
Exactly.
there.
So how did you persevere through that? You had these expectations. They were not met. How did you continue to push and continue to write?
That's a great question. I kind of did, but I didn't. I mean, for a minute, I went back to school. I studied recording engineering, and I hated it. I found the best couple of engineers in the class, and I said, hey, you guys engineer my sessions, and I'll produce yours. That's a deal. And so, we kind of collaborated. But I didn't finish the program. I kind of quit for a minute and took a job. I got married, and I thought the only music business I knew at that time was, Chips. His mama didn't name him Chips. He was a big gambler, hustler, and wild. And I was too. That's the reason we hit it off. When I was getting married, I thought there's no way you can be married and be in the music business. Man, it's just coke and crazy stuff. So I quit, and or so I thought. After about 9 months of marriage, I thought, I was selling real estate. I thought, how are we paying the bills, And I went back over the books. I had a little spiral-bound notebook that I hand-wrote everything in. But we were paying bills because I was playing in bars on the weekends. And then I actually had a sale. I sold a studio to a friend of mine in the music business, and the listing agent tried to screw me out of the commission. And I was so frustrated. One night I stayed up all night writing a song. I woke my wife up at about 4:30, which was a horrible idea, but she was so sweet about it. I played it for her, and she said, that's really good. And I kind of sat there, and for a minute, a couple of years earlier, I had thought about going to seminary, believe it or not. And the Lord knew what he was doing when he steered me away from that. That would have been trouble.
Bad idea.
Yeah, bad idea. But the pastor at the little church I grew up in, I was talking to him about it. He said, Rivers, do everything in your power not to go to seminary. He said, if you just can't sleep at night because you're not there, then go. But if you can sleep at night, you're not supposed to go. And I never lost a wink of sleep. So I stayed up all night writing this song because I was just so frustrated and everything. And it dawned on me, I can't sleep for this stuff, literally. And I played it for Allie, and she looks at me and she goes, that's really good. And I kind of hesitated, and I said, you want to move to Nashville? And she said, sure. And that's how we got there. I mean, it's
awesome.
It's not that profound, but it just.
No.
I can't imagine if your wife was like, you're crazy. Like, where would your life be now?
I couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done it without her.
I know several people they're really talented folks that's their story. They just never went.
Just never went.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a lot of people, the what ifs,
Yeah. I mean, it's talent is a prerequisite. I tell people all the time, if you can make music your avocation and not your vocation, do it. Do it. Do it. It's not for the faint of heart. I mean, I don't care how much success you've had. It's just a constant career of getting kicked in the teeth and disappointed. And, am I right? Go ahead.
I mean, I got kicked in the teeth today. I did.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
Well, I've been on a new journey. I'm trying to really grow. I haven't said this until now, but I played a gig with you when I was just first starting playing the guitar for myself.
Yeah.
So that's something that I did new last year was I've always been like a top liner, and I've had people play. I married a guitar player, and that's my path, and that's what I did. And I now am playing the guitar for myself. I've started really trying this year to start writing by myself. And wow, I'm getting some rough feedback. And
Wow.
it's okay. I'm going to keep going because like what you said, it's not for the faint of heart. I want to learn. I listen to a lot of different types of music. Yet when for what it is I'm doing at my publishing company, there's a certain type of song that I'm really trying to write that I've been signed to write. I haven't just been signed to write like whatever,
Right.
you know? So it's a different learning skill to be alone by yourself, no one else to bounce things off of and write that song.
It takes 5 times as long.
It does.
Long to write. I mean, if I can write 100 songs co-writing.
One thing I've specifically been doing is every single little fear, I will be like, no, it's important for me to know what they are. And I will
And
literally
why?
say, I will say, okay, God, I am having a fear of this. And I really want you to take this. Please replace this with a confident idea, a different thought. Like, just take this. And it's been amazing. I've had so many questions since the divorce, and just how do you, when you go through a divorce, and I didn't go through this so that I could be single for the rest of my life, but I have children and there's all these things. And I found myself, God put this woman in my life. Just the other day, I was just telling Danny, I was on a walk in my neighborhood with this woman, and I have no doubt in my mind that God put this woman on this road walking with me. A woman who wasn't super nice to me the first time I talked to her 8 years ago. And I think it was supposed to be her because I was supposed to notice that we were like, how strange that we're walking and talking, because she was super rude one time. And we had this amazing talk, and she completely validated that I'm right where I need to be, that all I need to do is love people and put my children first. Trust God, trust God's timing. And it was like, it couldn't have been more clear. I was like, wow, I have been praying for peace about that for like a really long time. And I felt like I got it. And I just think it's amazing when we ask for things that the answer comes, you know?
That's really
I think
cool.
We were looking for it, but yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be looking for it.
It's
Yeah.
really cool.
So I think that this podcast could be one of those record Sean Ryan show 5.5 hour long podcasts. No problem.
Yeah.
Like we could jam this out all night, but we
Mhm.
do have to kind of cut it because
Yeah.
the doors open in 15 minutes. But I do have one question for both Sarah and Rivers. Danny, you've already answered
Yeah,
this
I've
one.
been there.
This is my favorite question to ask everybody who comes on the show. What would you tell your 17-year-old self?
Don't drink and drive.
Mm.
Never lend your car to anybody. Practice safe sex. No, those are the 3 things my grandfather told me before I went to college.
Those are good.
I
Those
kind
are
of
good.
blew it on all 3 counts, but that's another story. Just trust. Just trust. When I moved to Nashville, I had a plan B. My wife and I came up there, and my thought was, if I don't have something going by this date, then I'll go back and go to law school. And every time that date came around, and I kept reset, but every time that date came around, I had 2 or 3 things in the hopper, but nothing concrete to meet the goal. You know what I mean? I go, I can't give up now. And so finally, my wife and I were at the little grocery store. It was an old-timey country store at this little small town we lived in outside of Nashville. And we just had our second baby. They were 15 months apart. One's 16 months, the other one's 1 month. And the 1 month old's in the baby carrier in the shopping cart. And we come through. It's a Friday afternoon. Everybody in town is there. And we're coming through, and I've got my 60-month-old on my hip. And the old grocer saw us down there, the guy that owned the place, and he comes down off the stand there, you know, the old-timey deal. And he comes over and says, Mr. Rutherford, do you want to pay for these groceries, or are we going to cover the check that bounced last week? And, of course, everybody in town is there, and they're all standing there watching the whole thing happen. I'm humiliated. I said, well, we'll cover the check. I said, honey, you got your purse with you? And long story short, he wound up taking a credit card. This is before the swipe. And I could charge my groceries. I'm getting to your question. We got home, walking in the house. I said, Allie, what if this is all there is to it? And she said, what do you mean? I said, it's just a bitter struggle to rob Peter to pay Paul. This is what music is. And her response to me was, are we still together? And I said, well, of course. She said, then I'm good. And I said, well, let me ask you this. So money doesn't matter to you. And I was pretty sardonic when I said it, you know, and she put her hands on my cheeks and she said, money does not matter to me.
Oh.
And I sat down in the kitchen and I said, all right, Lord, I got in this business for exactly the wrong reason. I got into it to get rich. From now on, I do this because you created me to do it. And you take care of them and I'll take care of this. So if I could go back to my 17-year-old self, I'd say, do what you do and trust it. Trust him.
That's powerful.
My God. Oh, I
I
love
know.
that story.
I liked
That's
it.
going to be
The older I
my
get-
words. No, that's going to literally be my words and my prayer about my kids. Like, take care of them, and I'll keep doing it. Like, that makes me so happy. I love that river.
I'm so glad.
Shamma
don't
Rivers.
know. I don't know what I would say.
It's
I guess
great.
my thing I would say to her is just take your time. Just enjoy it. Take your time, slow down. Stop and just enjoy these days. Like, enjoy the days. Enjoy these wonderful
Oh, yeah.
people
Mhm.
that you get to do this with.
Yeah.
I'm never forgetting that, Rivers. Thank you.
I love that.
Thanks.
I think it's the fear, like, or the things that we like grasp on so tightly to are the things that can control us. Like,
yeah.
you want to make money, you must make money, 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 money. But it's like,
Mhm.
as soon as you just let go and you trust, it shows up.
I'm telling you, man, it's the John Paul Sartre said, inside of every man is a God-shaped vacuum.
Hmm.
And when we try to fill that vacuum with anything but him, there's always a craving. Yes.
Amen to that.
Mhm.
Well, I think we should wrap it up. We have Sarah crying. I'm getting teary-eyed, and I don't want to have to do my makeup again.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'll
Thank
say,
you,
I'll say
guys.
for sure, being around songwriters just in this last, 6 months, I wish there was more duck hunting holes here in South Dakota because I could sit in a duck blind with these guys all day long.
Duck
Whoever.
hunting?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
We can talk.
Yeah.
Well, I
Thank
want to
you.
thank you all for showing up. Scott, who left, he's in the background right now, and Danny for hopping in just last second.
Thank
This
you.
is obviously not a very scripted episode, but I think that we covered a lot of meaningful things. You guys just shared a lot. And I want to say just thank you. And I can't wait for you guys to play tonight. Anybody watching this podcast, if you like it, please share with anybody who wants to hear some good conversation, and subscribe to the channel. And Pat has one word to say.
Namaste.